All right, let's get right into it. Album review for Snoop Dogg's newest album, Missionary, produced by Dr. Dre. Is he and Dre's first full album collab since 1993's Doggy Style, which of course is a hip hop classic. Now, if you don't know who Snoop and Dre is, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably not a hip hop fan at all, but do your research. But anyway, let's get into the album, Missionary. 16 tracks, about 46, 47 minute runtime. Very good album. Let me just say that right off the bat. It was better than I expected it to be. I'm gonna be honest and keep it real. Snoop and Dre are into a lot of things that are away from music. So a lot of times when artists like that come back to make albums, I don't expect a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? They've made so much music. The standards for them are really high, of course, because they're both legendary artists. But I will say that this year in 2024, with the Eminems, with Common and Pete Rock, with LL Cool J, Ice Cube just released the record. The legacy acts have been performing up to par and not kind of like mailing it in completely with the records that they have released in 2024. 2024 has been a great year for hip hop. Of course, we know everything that's happened. Kendrick Lamar is running the game right now. So for his fellow Compton and California legends to drop an album right in the middle and in the midst of this and have the album hold up. It was risky to do, but I think the album held up and I think it sounds good. Let's get into the tracks and the standout tracks that I like throughout the album. Now we'll start with Shangri-La. I did like, it was a nice start to the album. I love the intro by BJ, the Chicago kid. Shout out Chicago. Shangri-La was cool. Out of the Blue, everything was fire with Out of the Blue. I did not like the hook to Out of the Blue. It was just okay. Although the singing on the hooks, I do like that he got singers for the hooks instead of trying to sing it himself with auto-tune. That's something that kind of needs to go away, especially if you're not willing to put the time in to do it right. Hard Knocks, classic sound. I love the beat switch and the flow on Hard Knocks. It was really hard. The beat switches throughout this album was really on time. Dre did his thing on the production, but we'll get to that when we talk about the grades. Gorgeous. Gorgeous is my favorite record on the album. This is a smash hit. This is going to be a smash hit. I know they didn't lead out with it, but this will be the thing that carries the album probably into a tour of some type. Janae Aiko is always fire. Always, whenever she is a feature on something, her albums, she's always fire. Killed the hook. Snoop killed the verses. The beat is insane. It's the perfect record for so many situations. It's a riding record. It's a record for the club. It's a record for just chilling, for a kickback, whatever. That record is a smash, or will be a smash real soon. But Mary Jane, that's the Tom Petty sample record. That's more, Snoop has a very wide fan base. So some of the records are for different parts of his fan base. I believe that's one of them, Mary Jane. It's cool. I like the way they use the Tom Petty sample. Wasn't that great to me. It's not gonna be a record I return to really. Another Part of Me I liked better, the Sting sample. Drake killed the way he used that Sting sample. I like that record a lot better. Both of those are like radio hits though, for like contemporary radio and things like that. It's a crossover. Let's just be honest. Those are industry records for the record company. They did a good job in executing that though. Skyscrapers, Method Man, and I'm gonna argue this. Method Man has, to me, been on a better feature run than J. Cole. I'm gonna say it and I'll argue with you about it, okay? Method Man destroyed that verse, that feature on that verse. Snoop, of course, is gonna hold his own on every record, right? Because Snoop can really, really rap when he wants to. But Method Man, probably up there for feature of the year with that Skyscrapers verse, for sure. Fire, that was a decent record. I like the messaging in Fire for sure. Guns and Smoke, that was the 50 Eminem and Snoop record. Of course, there's gonna be too many expectations for that kind of collab at this stage in their careers. People had too many expectations for that. I like the record. Eminem is probably the greatest wordplay MC of all time because he can just make a verse full of wordplay and still get away with it. A little choppy on the flow though from Eminem and 50. But again, like I said, at this point in their careers, they got a lot of other things going on. I don't expect 2000 Eminem and 50 in 2024. All right. So Sticky Situation. My favorite production on the record is Sticky Situation. Best beat to me was Sticky Situation. I like that record as well. Now or Never with BJ the Chicago Kid on the hook again. That sounded like a record from the Blue Carpet Treatment to me. Great riding music. I like that record a lot too. Now or Never. Gangsta Pose was cool. Fat Money killed it at the end of that record with his feature on that record. Shout out to Chicago again. Love the production on Gangsta Pose as well. The beat switch, all of that. Great. Now the Negotiator, the last track on the album, to me that was Snoop's best rapping performance, where he was really talking ish and really explaining who he is at this point in his career. Loved that record as well. I loved his performance on that record. The beat was okay. Now we get into these grades. Let's go. Missionary, Snoop Dogg. Grades. The lyrics and rapping, I'm gonna give Snoop an A-. Snoop, again, I grade on the curve with the lyrics and the rapping. Okay, so I'm comparing Snoop to himself, not to the field. Again, at this stage in the game, he did more than I expected him to do as far as the rapping. Some of his past albums in the past few years, he's mailed it in. This one, he was rapping a lot better. So I give him an A-. And because here, he gave you the classic flows that you expect from Snoop. He also updated his flow on a couple of the records. So he gave you everything that you wanted. He gave you lyrics, he gave you the laid back style, he gave you the messaging. So A-. Could have been better, but again, I don't expect a whole lot from legends who have a lot of other ish going on and still find time to drop dope music. So A- for the lyrics and the rapping. The production, and again, I'm grading Dre on a curve here. I give a B+. It would be an A+ if it was some brand new producer making the records. But this is Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre is the greatest producer in hip hop of all time. I'm not gonna argue with anybody about that. Now I have Kanye as the best, right? I have him, but Dre's the greatest. Greatest discography, greatest track record, the whole thing, right? And if Kanye don't get back on the right side of things, then Dre's gonna take the #1 spot again and just be the best and the greatest. But anyway, so the production, my only real knock on the production is I don't like some of the sample choices, but I understand from a business standpoint why they use those records. The production was a little too digital for me. It was a little too digital, the sound of it. But other than that, they executed very well. Like I said, some of the best beat switches I've heard on record, but at the same time, it's Dr. Dre. What else? I expect nothing less. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's move on. Subject matter, I'm gonna give it a B. Again, Snoop stuck to the script, but with everything going on, I felt like he could have gave us a little bit more, right? And especially, what part of my problem is I did watch the trailer before I listened to the album. I probably shouldn't have did that. So I thought he was going to delve into some of the things in the trailer. If you watch the trailer, go check it out. They kind of get into, they're on the missions to kind of clean up some of the devilry that may take place around the world, and especially in entertainment, which is a hot topic these days, of course, as we all know. So I did expect him to get into that a little bit more, but that's on me. That's my personal gripe, so to speak. So I do just give a B on the subject matter. Now, track order and album flow, I give it A-. A lot of different styles on the album, so I think they kind of coordinated it pretty well. Didn't feel interrupted during the album at all. Didn't have any real low points except for the 80s rock sample area. That was a little whatever for me, but other than that, I like the way the album flowed and I like the track order for sure. Creativity and originality, I'm gonna give a solid A. I think that they melded all the sounds of hip hop pretty much that you can have, most of the sounds of hip hop that you can have very well. Didn't expect that from Snoop and Dre. Really executed, like I said, blending a lot of different genres together on different records, and like I said, it flowed pretty well. So I'm definitely gonna give them an A on that. Didn't go too far away from the script and try to be too creative, but at the same time was creative enough and gave you enough diversity on the record where it wasn't boring. And I think that's something that goes overlooked when people are judging music. When artists have created so much music, it's hard to be different, and it's hard to not just fall into the same patterns that have worked before. I think he gave you what you wanted to hear, but they also gave you some new sounds, right? And like I said, the beat switches and things like that surprised me throughout the album. They would take the album from a real West Coast sound to an East Coast sound and back and forth. All of that was really good. Really enjoyed it. So overall, I give the album a A-. Snoop and Dre executed well on this album. Again, because they're at such a legendary status, people are going to hate on the album. They're just going to face that at this point. People are going to grade them against themselves, and that's why this is only an A-. I think if Joe Schmo released this album, everybody would be going crazy over it, right? That's going to happen with legendary artists. And to be totally transparent, I'm not going to do album reviews for albums that I don't like. So if I don't do an album review for an album, I probably didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Since I've been doing this, you know, some of the albums, the Blue Lips, my album of the year, Dark Times by Vince Staples, Please Don't Cry, Rhapsody, you know, those albums came out before I started even doing this. So I will do those. They'll be in the membership and things like that. I have done one actually, but if I don't do an album, or you'll say all the albums, all his album reviews, they're good, they're B's and A's. Well, I'm not going to waste my time and do an album review of an album I don't like. I was always taught if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I also know how much work people can put into their albums, and coming on the internet and trashing an album just is not something I feel like doing at all. But let me know what y'all think in the comments below of Snoop's album Missionary. As always, if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button for me, hit the notification bell. Everybody hit that like button for me. Share the video, tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank y'all for watching as always, and we out.